Good morning, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Thursday, September 8th, 1 p.m. Mountain Time 2022. Early morning earthquake rocks Western Washington, measuring 3.8. But the big story, after a 4.9 magnitude earthquake, a massive seismic swarm has been triggered in the Turnus fracture zone. Keep calm. It's boom time. Now, we'll get back to the Iceland situation, but let's talk about North America right now. PG&E warning 30,000 Oregonians possible power shutoffs. This is due to the rolling blackouts and the heat wave in the West. Now, good news, only 34,000 without power in California currently, and they're also suffering in Puerto Rico. Well, let's take a look at what's going on in Cali.
Till 9 o'clock tonight, officials crediting collective action. Last night, when they pushed that emergency alert, demand dropped, and we were able to avoid large-scale rotating blackouts, despite the ongoing stress the grid is experiencing under these conditions.
It is hotter now than it's ever been for a longer period of time than we've ever seen. We have more power being used on our energy grid yesterday than we've ever seen before. And if not for yesterday, today would have been the most power we've ever needed in the state.
Now, I don't know if I believe that guy. He's certainly pushing the climate change narrative. And the fact that they're also pushing electric vehicles when they don't have enough electricity is completely mind-blowing. It's almost like we live in a clown world. Now, what's not a clown world is the hurricane season has been kicked into high gear due to that flurry of geomagnetic activity we had over the last week. And Earl is now 2022's first Cat 2. It might be at Cat 3 now, Atlantic hurricane. Let's take a look. And here we are at the National Hurricane Center where we can see Earl, Hurricane Earl, and there's post-tropical cyclone Danielle heading up north there. Hurricane Earl is now maximum sustained winds at 105 miles per hour. Central pressure at 965 millibars. Just click on Earl at the Hurricane Center to get the key messages. And you can see the track there is going to take it right off. Maybe some effects there in the Canadian provinces due to high surf potentially on Saturday this weekend. But Earl Center is forecast to pass southeast of Bermuda. Tropical storm force winds are expected on the tiny island this morning and this afternoon through early Friday morning. Hurricane force winds are possible on Bermuda this evening or tonight if Earl's track shifts further west than is currently forecast. Swells generated by Earl are building near Bermuda and are expected to reach the U.S. East Coast later today and tonight. These swells are likely to cause life-threatening surf in the Northeast, so be aware because many people, well, they're just getting sucked out into the ocean, never to be seen again. So that's what's happening with Earl. And let's take a look at the rest of the tropics. We have disturbance number 1, now 70% chance of development. The models are showing this curve out, and we have now another disturbance. So 4 disturbances just in the Atlantic to deal with here. Now we could take a look at the satellite here, and here's the water vapor, and you can see Earl there out in the Atlantic churning around. Hurricane K moving up Baja. And not much other weather activity. Some pop-up storms here near Billings up in Montana, and the East Coast is covered in, well, just a little bit of rain. So here's the precipitation map. You can see Hurricane K here smashing Baja and the peninsula there, as well as western Mexico. As we have a large tropical system here, it looks like pushing on to northern Florida. There'll be some flooding rains there in Tampa, central and northern Florida. So heads up there, and as we can see that moisture there and the bands moving and occurring here up in the Northeast, there is Earl. Now, heat, fire weather, and flooding threat in the West. The record-breaking heat wave across the West will continue the next couple of days, especially in California, and may linger this weekend into the Northwest. Oregon specifically. Fire weather conditions remain elevated to critical the next 2 days from the Northwest to the Central High Plains. Those areas are the bright pink. We're going to see those high winds, and we could see some pop-up large wildfires happening over the next few days. The heat warnings here in purple and flash flood warnings due to some tropical moisture from K in Arizona. So those are the systems, and here are the tracks. We'll leave you the current active tropical system tracks. Let's take a look at Earl first. It's showing us affecting almost no land and heading over towards Europe in about a week or so. Danielle is up there currently and it is forecast to potentially make landfall on Portugal or the UK there. So that's what's happening currently with Danielle. And Kay, which is in the Pacific, is going to make a loop-de-loop and maybe smash back into Baja or come up into Southern California. So a lot going on and a lot of activity. We just want to check out the precipitation potential for Europe. Well, it is going to be a big winter in Ireland. It looks like Ireland is going to have some record flooding and record rain through the end of September. A September to remember in Ireland, potentially Wales and UK as well as Portugal. And some of the states on the Black Sea there. So just a lot of moisture coming to a once parched Europe as we approach the peak of tropical season. Now, a virus is wiping out Utah's tomato harvest. It's not good news, but other crops are faring a little better. The reason I bring this up is because during grand solar minimums, we have record heat, we have record cold, record drought, record flooding, and very unstable conditions for growing crops. And here, a virus wiping out Utah's tomato harvest. Cloud formation over Mount Rainier causes a stir on social media over the last few days. This picture really looks like a steam vent is happening, but it is cloud formation according to the experts. As an early morning earthquake rocks Western Washington, measuring at 3.8, raising eyebrows and more suspicions in that region. So let's come take a look at the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. As we can see, Mount St. Helens clearly kicking it up a notch, 63 earthquakes in the past month. And Mount Hood as well, a little uptick here, 43 earthquakes in the last 30 days. Don't leave out Rainier, 20 earthquakes in the last 30 days in small pulses. Nothing looks imminent. Mount St. Helens has the best chance for the uptick. Now, there's that large quake in Washington earlier today, right there near the Puget Sound. And here we are at the seismic map where you can see the large activity at northern Iceland there coming in at M5.1, according to the USGS. No other real quakes to note. When I saw that this morning, I quickly ran over to Worldwide Volcano News where they have no information. So I followed it up with Iceland Geology, and sure enough, they have a small article on the quake. During the night of 8th September 2022, an earthquake with magnitude 4.9 took place east of Grimsey Island, according to news reports. This earthquake did wake up people in Grimsey Island and was felt over a wide area of northeastern Iceland. Over 22 earthquakes with magnitude above 3 have happened, and thousands of other tremors below 3.4 magnitude. Take a look at the number of quakes. And this is happening all in a very specific, tight area in the Tyrnes fracture zone in northern Iceland. Here is a close-up of that area. This is the Tyrnes fracture zone. And look at all the green stars. The green stars are magnitude greater than 3. So something is afoot here, and it is my supposition that this is the beginning of a subsurface volcanic event in the Tyrnes fracture zone. Now, the Tyrnes fracture zone in Iceland is an oblique transform zone that separates the northern volcanic zone of Iceland from the Kolbeinsey Ridge, part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge of northern Iceland. And there have been lots of earthquakes happening here. Now, it has an eruptive history in the Holocene. The last eruption was in 1867, December, and the stop date was 1868, January. So it only lasted a few months, and it was confirmed. Observations were reported, and so this may be a underwater volcano. And we will have the data if it, in fact, is erupting in just 24, 48 hours. So stay tuned for updates over at Magnetic Reversal News on the Tyrnes fracture zone. Now, here's some more news coming from Iceland. Gold was discovered at Iceland's latest volcanic eruption on the surface mixing with basalt. This is one of the rarest occurrences of native gold, and it may mean there are millions of dollars of gold just sitting on the surface here of these new lava flows. So if you're a tourist and you've got screwed by there being no eruption, well, pick up your geologic hammers and go look for some gold.
And on September 2nd, a completely unexpected discovery was made at the eruption site. What you are looking at is metallic, and it is not paint. It is also not sulfur, as you can see in this comparison photo. Instead, what was found at the eruption site was highly concentrated native gold. If this gold was indeed produced during the volcanic eruption, it would represent a scientific first. Gold has never before been found on a basalt lava flow, as it generally is deposited beneath the surface due to hydrothermal fluids adjacent to a magma chamber or magmatic intrusion. More interestingly, this find was not an isolated event. After a post was made discussing this find, a second individual came forward revealing that they had also found a sample of gold on basalt in approximately the same location. So, where exactly was the precious metal found? How did the gold unexpectedly form on the volcanic rock? This video will discuss this mystery and answer the two aforementioned questions.
So if geology interests you, I implore you to watch the rest of the video. Gold discovered at Iceland's latest volcanic eruption by Geology Hub. We support that channel. It's a great channel. Give them a thumbs up and subscribe over there. Tell them the Oppenheimer Ranch sent you. Now let's get to space weather news. The sun is quiet. The X-ray flux is low in the high B range here. And the 3-day geomagnetic forecast is for a quiet sun. So we shouldn't see an uptick for a few days, as there are some active regions turning around the limb, and the current sunspots that are facing us have very simple magnetic complexity and are not flare producers, as we can see here on the solar flare detection chart. So that's good news about the sun. Here is the solar cycle progression as we move forward, and you can see here the latest smooth predicted, and it's just a little higher than the prediction as it is modulating here at our current position. Sunspot number 75.4 is the actual. So still a very weak solar cycle we're looking at here, one of the weakest in the last 100 years. Now, that event that happened off the backside of the sun the other day kicked up the electrons in a big way. It's the largest electron storm this cycle in over a decade. And an event on the backside of the sun create moving electrons like this for a very long period of time. Well, it was a huge event. And here we are at GOES electron flux, and you can see we are well above the alert threshold now for days. So that sunspot is going to be turning around here in just about a week, and it might get pretty exciting. Now, for those of you that watched the prior videos on the paper we shared that is predicting an event on September 23rd, this may have something to do with it. Not only is the sun vibrating in an extremely unique way, GOES electron flux is high, and this is a very large event that happened on the backside of the sun. If that spot were to turn around and do the same thing, well, it will be quite a show here on the surface. Now, an 8,200-year-old temple structure found in Katahuyik. This is near Göbekli Tepe. More evidence of advanced large cities 8,200 years ago. That's not what you were taught in school, now was it? Read the article if you'd like to learn more. Now, you should also learn more about food preservation. A lot of people don't know how to pressure can or can at all, and you need to get started somewhere. So why not learn about lactofermentation and its health benefits? This article covers it all. Fermentation is one of the oldest methods of food processing. Lactofermentation is a specific type of fermentation that uses lactic acid producing bacteria to preserve foods. All you need is clean water and some salt, and that's it, time. Then you can lacto-ferment things like garlic, peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, and more. Here, some cauliflower pictured. While fermentation was traditionally used to increase shelf life, recent research has highlighted several health benefits of eating lacto-fermented foods, including the fact that your gut biome controls your health. So get out there and eat some sauerkraut, make your own lacto-fermented foods, and start growing something because, well, times are changing in a big way, and that's a boom. To knowledge, proper prior planning prevents piss-poor performance in a dystopian world that is collapsing around you. And the mainstream media continues to pump out propaganda to disinform and confuse. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share this with like-minded people. Be safe. We love you. Oh yeah, be a hero. Share this video.